Yeah, this is the show that I've been waiting, since we came back on the air a couple months ago. Guys, if you've never heard James Gogue, Coach Gogue, analyze a big fight, well, you're in for a treat. Guys, we're going to give you the best comprehensive, complete fight analysis as well as Coach Gogue's prediction for the upcoming lightweight unification bout slated to air this Saturday night from the Bubble at the MGM Grand, October 17th. And best of all, Gogue, it's going to be live on flagship station ESPN. Your thoughts and the importance of this being on ESPN?
To me, this is bigger than boxing. I talked to you about this, I think it was the last show last week, Joe, because what happens, boxing has been kind of in a, downturn because of the COVID, and when boxing returned, the ratings have been, surprisingly low. You expect people, wanting to tune into boxing when they started doing boxing again earlier this year, but surprisingly, golly, nobody's tuning in. And example, PBC, they put on their best fights on pay-per-view, the Charlo brothers they had a few weeks ago, and they put on their worst fights on free TV, Showtime Championship Boxing or Fox, okay? That's ridiculous. Top Rank is changing that, okay? They could have, both fighters could have easily commanded pay-per-view, but is an old-school promoter like our late great friend Don Chargan, and he knows what's best for boxing, what's going to, inject some, energy back into the sport and everything, which is lacking right now, and that's putting on the best fights on a platform where you ain't got to pay for it like the PBC does, man. That, Joe, that's just a money grab, to get their, put money in their pockets and everything. They don't care about the fans. They just want to enrich themselves. Aram cares about the fans, okay? And that's why, he survived in the sport, 5 decades, and he understands this fight, and all the other fights that he puts on ESPN are not pay-per-view worthy, and this is how you grow the sport of boxing, Joey, by putting it on free TV, the best matchups possible, the best fighting the best, and this has a lot of intrigue to it, too.
Indeed, and earlier last week, when asked about this during the final press conference, the virtual press conference he held for both Teofimo Lopez as well as Vasyl Lomachenko, Bob Arum had this to say on the Zoom media call. He said, quote, "Any fight that Eddie Hearn does, whether it's a major fight or a minor fight, they put it on pay-per-view because Sky Sports is only apparently interested in a money grab. Soak the boxing fans for whatever they can. These networks have to understand how people are hurting. How many people in this country and the UK are out of work because of this pandemic. I think it's really immoral to require people to spend money watching their favorite sport every other week. What Sky Sports is doing in the UK is an absolute disgrace. I don't care if they never buy a fight from me. What they are doing now is a disgrace." And when you look, end quote, and when you look at the schedule, okay, and Eddie Hearn putting his big events on Sky Sports, right, pay-per-view, the box office, you look at Alexander Usyk versus Derek Chisora on October 31st, Halloween night, same day as Gervonta Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz on Showtime pay-per-view. He's putting Usyk versus Chisora on Sky Sports box office. Gogue, in your mind, is that a pay-per-view fight?
Oh, Joe, God, he's doing what Al's doing over here. That's a great fight, but not on pay-per-view. Come on, man. Give it to the fans for free. Let them see something. Look at the NFL. The NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, they became primetime sports, okay, mainstream sports because, they didn't charge the best games or the best, the best playing the best on pay-per-view all the time, okay? They would have killed their sports if they did that. They did it, network TV, the biggest audience available. But when you do something like that, Joe, it's just, man, you don't grow the sport, okay, to the newer generation, okay, the 18 to 49-year-old demographic, okay. And I don't know. Like I said, Eddie's a great promoter over there in England because he does develop fan bases and he does develop ticket sellers over there. As far as being a promoter over here, man, he's terrible.
Well, I think one of the reasons, Gogue, why networks like Showtime and even Fox, as well as Sky Sports, are choosing to put this via pay-per-view. Because when you look at the Charlo event, for example, Showtime wasn't able to get mainstream media outlets to cover these fights because it's still being somewhat isolated. There's really no active members of the media or fans allowed to these events yet. And so, Showtime, you look at, and this is the importance of having this on ESPN. That's a mainstream global publication and network, right? So, unfortunately, there are no fans available to these events, and also mainstream media outlets aren't going to show up and cover these events because they're limited to the amount of access they have to the fighters as well as the press events. Now, you can see these press events virtually online, but it's not the same as having the cameras, having the media members show up for the grand arrival. It's just not the same, and we're going to see that during fight week. So with that said, that also showcases the importance, kind of highlights the importance of having a mainstream network or platform like ESPN covering this event. And we're going to be seeing a lot of media attention from ESPN as well as ABC and Disney during the entire fight week. And, we also, Gogue, how important is it for the boxing diehards to act as ambassadors here for the sport and really tell their neighbors and their friends about this must-see TV on October 17th?
Any successful business has happy customers. What do they say, Joe? The best advertisement is a happy customer. A happy customer. I mean, that's the key. Word of mouth. You know what I mean? And if you got one happy customer, they're going to tell another one. They're going to tell, it just spreads, especially social media nowadays, Joe. Okay? When you got somebody that's real, happy about the fight, you'll hear it right over social media. Before, back in the days, Joe, it's just when you got back to the gym on Monday or, you talk to friends on the phone, you know what I mean? You would tell them how, oh, man, what a fight. Great fight, like Hagler Hearns. Oh, my God. You know, you got to the gym, that's all they were talking about. Well, it was mainstream too, Joe. So it was all over the papers. But, just say a regular, I'd say a good fight I recall back in the days, Holyfield, Kwai, the last 15-round championship level fight, it was on ABC. People were talking about that, oh, man, what a fight that was. What a fight. And just think if social media was around back then, Joe. Oh, my God. Social media, it just spreads like wildfire, okay, Joe? Because once you get on it, all your Twitter followers will see it. People will retweet it. And you know what I mean, Joe? It has an exponential effect. Oh, this fight's huge, Joe. It's bigger than the fight, I think. It has like I said, it has both guys are not well known either, Joe, to mainstream fans. Okay, so this has, it's the opportunity to get known to the mainstream fans out there, okay, because of all the press and all the publicity that's going to be behind this fight.
Indeed, because, you don't have a Canelo Alvarez or an Anthony Joshua or a Tyson Fury fighting. Although these are two of the best fighters in boxing competing and arguably the top pound-for-pound fighter in the sport is going to be fighting this Saturday, in terms of mainstream attraction, neither man is a household name at this point. So, it's very important, guys, to spread the word and tell your neighbors, tell your friends about this fight. This is must-see TV. With that said, Gogue, we look at the making of this fight, and it took some doing. There was a lot of haggling in terms of how much money is going to be available. Without the live gate, without full sponsorship, ESPN really stepped up, and they paid out almost $5 million for this event, which, when you think about it, really isn't that much when you're talking about what the consequence is for this. This is for all the marbles at 135 pounds. So the purse for Vasyl Lomachenko is $3.25 million. And for Teofimo Lopez, he's going to earn for this one, win or lose, $1.5 million. Do you think that's fair? Do you think the disparity in earnings, do you think that's fair, or do you think maybe it's a little too heavily in favor of Lomachenko?
Oh, Teofimo, he wants to be the star. He wants to be the man. Well, in order to be the star, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Sometimes you got to accept the lower pay. You know, Joe, it's about what you're happy with, okay? About what I think is fair, what the fans out there think it's fair, but we're both fighters. And, you know, obviously Teofimo wanted this fight, so he took a, lesser cut. And, you know, Lomachenko is the more well-known fighter than Teofimo Lopez. He's the young lion coming up, you know, wanting his throne, okay? And, you know, Joe, you know, like I said, Joe, I don't get into the purses of this guy's making this, that guy's making that. Hey, what you get in this business, what you negotiate for. End of the day, what you sign on paper, you know, that's what you're going to get. That's what you're happy for. You don't do like Ricardo Mayorga, you know, when he fought De La Hoya. All of a sudden, you know, he was only getting $1 million for the fight. All of a sudden, the week of the fight, he's threatening to pull out because he wasn't happy and wanted more money. It doesn't work like that.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
he was threatening to pull out because he was trying to shake down Don King. I remember that.
I was there that week when that happened, man. And, you know, he was, complaining all week. I should be getting more, and I'm going to pull out. I mean, you signed the contract. What's fair? You know, that's subjective. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If Teofimo signed for $300,000 and Lomachenko was getting $5 million? You know, hey, man. He's happy with it, so that's why he put his name on the paper. He might be, might become a $2.5-3 million fighter after this. After this fight, he'll get that kind of money.
Well, that depends on how he looks this coming up Saturday night. So I tell you what, let's get right down to it, Gogue. Going into this fight, and we've heard a lot of chatter, pre-fight chatter from Teofimo Lopez. And Vasyl Lomachenko, he's not a guy who talks a lot. Teofimo Lopez has already stated this. Look, I'm talking a lot. Of course, I respect the man. No, I don't necessarily like him, but yeah, I respect the guy. And honestly, it's all a bit of gamesmanship. I'm doing this just to promote the fight because, well, he's not from here. So I've taken it upon myself to do all the talking. But yeah, it's going to be business as usual. No emotion involved. So he did set the record straight, Teofimo Lopez, when asked about do you have a genuine hatred for Vasyl Lomachenko? But do you think, Gogue, it's a bit of false bravado or gamesmanship? Or do you think, yeah, he's just doing this to kind of try to remind himself that, yeah, I belong here. I'm on this level.
So he's selling the fight. Lomachenko, that's what one thing about Lomachenko, he's quiet, goes about his business, and, and what do you call it? He'll prove it in the ring. Teofimo, him and his dad are selling the fight. They're talking about it. They're, they're creating a lot of buzz about it. You know what I mean, Joe? You need people like that. As far as false bravado, no, he really believes in his heart he could beat Lomachenko. I mean, this is not false bravado. It's something, a deep belief in himself, self-efficacy. I talked about, the belief that when you set your mind on a goal, a positive result's going to happen. Well, that's the way, Teofimo and his dad feel. They don't think that what's his name has a chance with them and everything. But like I said, Joe, I'm glad he's talking because it's selling the fight. Okay, Lomachenko, it's hard to put asses in the seats. If only one guy's selling the fight and the other guy ain't. You know what I mean, Joe?
Indeed.
You need salesmen in this in boxing to get people excited. So, do you like what he's doing? Sometimes it's annoying. You know, I'm the kind of guy, hey, prove it in the ring. But, you know, if I'm a promoter, I would love it. I would love it. Yeah, keep talking, keep hyping the fight and everything, okay? Then, you know, of course you're going to have to, you know, back it up in the ring. You're going to talk the talk. You're going to have to walk the walk.
Well, indeed. Let's hope it doesn't. I'm sure his corner and his fans are hoping it doesn't blow up in his face. Because to be honest with you, Gogue, all last week when we heard him, and this entire time leading up to the event, it's beginning to sound a bit like Fernando Vargas' talk before his date with Destiny against Oscar De La Hoya. It
created a lot of buzz, Joe.
Yep, that's what it's beginning to sound like. Well, we'll see if it pays off for him. This Saturday night, October 17th, let's start off with rattling off the tell the tape for Teofimo Lopez, the IBF lightweight champion. He's going to come to the ring at age 23. He fights out of the orthodox stance. He stands 5'8" tall in the center of the ring. He fights behind a 68.5-inch reach from Brooklyn, New York. He comes into the ring with a perfect record of 15 wins, 0 losses, 12 big wins coming by way of knockout. His last fight before this, Gogue, was on December 14th of last year. So although it hasn't been over a year, it's approaching that length. And this is by far his longest layoff of his professional career. For a timing counterpuncher, Gogue, how crucial is that in a fight of this magnitude?
Oh, it's big. So when you fight regularly, your timing and rhythm's on, Joe. You're sharp all the time. But when you have a lot of time off in the ring, you get a little rusty, and it takes a veteran like Lomachenko or even a young kid like, Teofimo. It's going to take some time for, them to get warmed up, to feel that rhythm, to feel their timing in the ring, to get going and everything. Yeah. That's why, Joe, I believe a fighter should fight on a consistent basis like the old school days because, you're always sharp. You know what I mean, Joe? You don't have to spar as much when you're in the gym and everything, okay? There's nothing that substitutes for live fights. Gym sparring is gym sparring. But when you're fighting them, on that big stage in the bright lights with the small gloves and no headgear, there is no substitute for that, let me tell you. And you're off for a while, oh, yeah, you're going to feel it when you get in the ring, Joe. I mean, God, you're just going to, God damn, something's wrong. You know what I mean? you know what I mean? You're just, that rust, what I'm trying to say, you got to work off. And it's going to take a few rounds. But, Lomachenko, he's had, 400 amateur fights. He's been a world champion since his, second or third pro fight or something like that. Yeah, he'll get warmed up real fast, and both guys will get sharp real fast and everything. Once, they get their rhythm after, a couple rounds.
Yeah, and when you look at the record, and once again, guys, we always encourage fans not to focus on resume and record, but to focus on what your eyes tell you as you watch these fighters, right? But when analyzing his resume and his record, you look at his recent opposition, right? Richard Comey, brilliant performance in which he stopped the former title holder in the second round, right? And then you look at his, decision victory over Masayoshi Nakatani. You look at a victory over Diego Magdaleno, Mason Menard, William Silva. None of these names really jump out at you as the elites of the division. You could say, in a sense, Teofimo at age 23, boy, he's going from the wading pool into the ocean. Do you think this may be a little too soon for this kind of professional leap against, what a lot of people consider to be the best fighter in boxing?
Joe, we'll find out next week. To me,
it's sink or swim time. Yep.
On paper, it might be a little, it might be a little fast what they're doing. They're on the fast route, maybe too fast for, what they need. But the kid and his dad are confident, that they could that they could not only beat him but knock him out. So, like I said, Joe, we'll find out next week. Ruben Villa, who fought, what's his name?
Emmanuel Navarrete. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can see he was too green in inexperience, to fight him.
Absolutely,
he wasn't ready.
Absolutely, and we called that, and that's why we didn't even really cover that matchup. But unlike Ruben Villa, Teofimo Lopez has the ultimate neutralizer and serious one-punch knockout power.
Yep. Unfortunately, you know what, Joe? That nullifies all his inexperience when you can punch like him, when you're explosive like him. Okay. You know what I mean? That when you can hit that home run at any time during a fight, the grand slam. Yeah. Who needs experience?
Well, unfortunately for Villa, he showed up to a gunfight holding a switchblade. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, let's take a look at the tail of the tape for the consensus champion, the ring-recognized champion at 135 pounds, Vasyl Lomachenko. He's going to come into the ring at age 32, Gogue. Originally born in the Ukraine, he now fights out of Oxnard, California. He fights out of the southpaw stance. He stands 5'7" tall in the center of the ring. He fights behind a 65.5-inch reach. He comes into the ring with a very impressive record of 14 wins, 1 loss, 10 big wins coming by way of knockout. Now, Gogue, and a lot of people, including Teofimo Lopez, they've pointed to his only professional loss, saying, well, that's the blueprint, that's how you beat him. You rough him up and you apply intelligent pressure, but you don't think that's going to be the case. Do you think Vasyl Lomachenko has learned something from his lone defeat against Orlando Salido?
He learned what professional boxing is all about, Joe. That was his baptism under fire, okay? He fought amateurs his whole life, okay? You know what I mean? Amateur 3-round fights, headgear, gloves. You play by the rules. Well, guess what? Salido was dirty in that fight, hitting him low a lot, hitting him on the hips, headbutting him. You know what I mean, Joe? Inside using elbows and all that stuff, man. Using his head. That's professional boxing, Joe, at the world-class level. And Lomachenko never experienced that before in his life, that hard physical pressure coming at him. After 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 rounds against a seasoned, hard-nosed veteran like Salido. So, he got, it was a total, baptism under a fire moment that night. But the thing is, he grew from that fight, okay? He now, now if a guy tries to pressure him or rough him up or anything like that, he knows how to handle that tough physical pressure. He's learned to fight in the pocket better, Joe. He's more comfortable, okay? He's not moving around or dancing around. When somebody gets in the pocket, he knows how to set himself in there and work and neutralize your opponent's forward aggressive pressure. Then pivots around you beautifully. Yeah. He that was his I don't say it. Yeah, you could say he became a man that night in professional boxing. Yeah.
Indeed, and you could see it in his consequent fights, right, or subsequent fights, rather, against Roman Martinez and Nicholas Walters, Jason Sosa, Guillermo Rigondeaux, Jorge Linares, Jose Pedraza. Yeah, he really learned how to deal with himself. And, Gogue, and he became a much more, efficient fighter when someone tried to tie him up. What does he do now successfully whenever an opponent tries to tie him up?
He doesn't let him. Okay? You keep your elbows tucked in, your hands up, your hands up nice and tight by your face, bend the knees, bend the legs. Okay, don't give them nothing to grab. When they reach out to grab you, don't reach out to grab them back so they could tie you up. He doesn't do that, okay? And Joe? When they try to get close to him, boy, he knows, even when they do tie him up, they get that opportunity to tie him up. He knows how to break from those clinches, okay? That's something, wrestling. That's some wrestling techniques. I've seen him, because he used to be a wrestler when he was younger. That's wrestling techniques he used. You know what I mean, Joe? Bending the knees to get leverage, yanking his arms from his opponent. You know what I mean? So he doesn't tie him up and everything. And, pushing him off him, using his forearms. You know what I mean, Joe? to create that space if somebody's trying to, when they're grabbing it, when the opponent starts grabbing at you to tie you up, he'll his lead hand is forearm right in the guy's chest to prevent that guy from, grabbing you and everything. He just has good technique, good fundamentals, and preventing the guy from tying them up and everything. You know what I mean, Joe? He knows, and if a guy does tie him up, he knows how to break out of them and everything, go back to work. Oh yeah, he just doesn't accept the clinch like he did, when he fought Salito. He knows how to, prevent him from happening. And when somebody does tie him up, he knows how to get out of those clinches.
Indeed. So, guys, we put together a checklist for Coach Gogue. He's going to discuss all of the major factors, variables, and intangibles in this matchup, and he's going to let us know who he thinks has the advantage, either Vasyl Lomachenko or Teofimo Lopez. So first, the first category that we're going to talk about, Gogue, is, well, speed, but you've got to separate hand speed and foot speed. First of all, who has the advantage, in your opinion, who has the advantage in hand speed?
Let me tell you, man, that Lopez he's a cat-quick counterpuncher, boy. You don't even telegraph it. He'll just boom, like a cobra snake, just when he strikes. Fast, sharp, explosive. I'd give him the advantage, Joe, for hand speed and sharp, quick, crisp counters. Oh, he's just, you know what I mean, Joe? It's real quick. It's God-given. You got to have great athletic reflex. You got to have great athletic talent and reflexes. To counter with that type of precision and speed. Mayweather, okay, God-given ability, okay, Joe. Guys with fast twitch muscles, okay, to do that and everything. So, the advantage as far as counter punching with speed, or leading, or leading like that little lead left hook he knocked out Magdaleno with. It's very short and sharp, Joe. His right hands are not long; they're medium range, where it's whap, and when he hits you, he's got pop behind it. So advantage speed, hand speed with Teofimo.
So the advantage in hand speed and reflexes goes to Teofimo Lopez. Now we look at foot speed.
No, Lomachenko got good reflexes too now, defensively. He'll make you miss a lot, you know what I mean? With head and upper body movement, with footwork, stuff like that. But go ahead.
Okay, well, I guess we should put reflexes in a separate category now. We'll address that a little bit later. But so we now look at foot speed. Who has the better footwork and foot speed in this matchup, Vasyl Lomachenko or Teofimo Lopez?
Oh, Lomachenko. He has the best footwork in the business. Ability to move in and out of range, to confuse you, to move in circles, to move at angles. Oh, without a doubt, his IQ, knowing when to use his footwork, is the best in boxing right now, Joe. Footwork, without a doubt, Lomachenko.
Very good. Footwork goes to Lomachenko. So now we analyze the variable of power. Who has the advantage in power, Gogue?
Oh, it's got to go with Lopez. Look at he did to Comey. Look at he did Diego Magdaleno and everybody else. The only tough fight he's been in, Joe, is that Japanese guy. Okay, he hit that Japanese guy with some pretty good shots, and that Japanese guy took it. I don't know how, and he got touched up a lot in that fight. Okay, he showed me right then and there, boy. Some holes in some holes in his game, but everybody else he destroyed. You know what I mean? And just an explosive, naturally gifted puncher.
Indeed, and we'll talk about that a little bit later when we go to experience, because correct me if I'm wrong, Gogue, but that's the only time in his professional career that he's gone 12 rounds. Will that be a factor in this fight? We'll take a look at that variable in just a second. But now we look at the most important, according to the late, great Emanuel Stewart. He classified the jab as the most important punch in a fighter's arsenal. So who has the better jab going into this contest, Gogue?
Lomachenko. The way he has different variations of jab. He has a nice, hard, stiff jab, and he mixes up the tempo of his jab. A lot of touch jabs. He changes the speed of his jab. Okay, fast, medium fast, touch, slow touches out there, up and down. He works his jab up and down real good too, Joe. You know what I mean? Like Floyd Mayweather, to keep you off balance. Because when you got a guy working your jab, when you got a guy working a jab at you, up and down, down and up, it confuses you. It confuses you. You know what I mean? You never know where that jab is going to be coming, or it's going to be coming from. Is he going to hit me in my head, or is he going to hit me in my body? You know what I mean, Joe? It keeps you guessing. Teofimo, his jab is more just like a pawing jab. Okay, he don't have a stiff jab, Charlo, against when he fought Davchenko. It was more like a pawing jab and everything, and he doesn't have the variations to his jab like Lomachenko. He does, throw hard jabs once in a while, up and down, and he does throw the jab to the body. But with Lomachenko, he just does it with so much more consistency and more variation than Lopez and everything. In executing his lead hand, okay, yeah, without a doubt, yeah, Lomachenko.
Very good. So advantage Lomachenko in the jab category. Now, this one we're going to have to break into two parts. The physical endurance category, Gogue. Now, first of all, the more conditioned, the better conditioned, who has the better physical endurance in terms of conditioning, Lomachenko or Lopez?
Joe, they're both going to be in great shape. It all comes down to who has experience in fighting 12-round fights. You know who has that, okay? Everybody, yeah, they're going to be in great shape for this. If they're not in great shape, then they ain't got no business being in this fight, okay? But the thing is, you could be the best shape in the world. You could be in marathon shape, but if you ain't got that experience going them 12 rounds, you know what I mean, Joe? You know what I mean? You got to have that, you got to have that experience behind you with the conditioning, okay? And advantage Lomachenko.
Indeed. So we have a question from one of your listeners on YouTube, Gogue. And he goes by the handle Funkrites. And he asks you, Coach Gogue, how much is the massive weight cut that Teofimo Lopez has been very honest in stating that he's had to endure leading up to this fight, because he is a very big 135-pounder. So how much of that is going to come into play in quite possibly a 12-round fight against the best fighter in boxing?
He's a young kid, Joe. I can see if he's older, you're losing that weight. It takes a little bit longer to recover, but he's a young kid. He'll recover quick. Now, if he really has a problem making weight, like Fat Boy Tank Davis, and can't make the weight, then hey, that's a different story. You know what I mean? That's a different story. But he's a young kid. You got what? You got like nowadays it ain't like the olden days. Back in the days, 15-round title fight, same day weigh-ins. You fight. You weigh in at 12 o'clock. You fight the main event 8 hours later. Now, sheesh, you got day before weigh-ins. You got 30 hours to recover. 35 hours to recover. You know what I mean? That's plenty of time to to put that weight back on him and everything.
Yeah, so, I agree. At age 23, it shouldn't be a huge issue. You're absolutely right. So this isn't going to affect his muscle mass or anything, will it?
Yeah, Joe, he'll with nutritional science these days, he'll recover quick. I don't even think Lopez, uses a nutritionist or strength and conditioning coach. He does it, he does everything himself. Conditioning, strength and conditioning, boxing and everything, and nutrition and all that. He probably has his wife cook for him and everything. But yeah, it shouldn't be a problem, Joe. Nah, he's a young kid. He'll recover fast.
Very good. So according to Coach Gogue, Funkrites, it shouldn't be a factor in this fight because of the youth of Teofimo Lopez. But thanks for the question, brother, and thanks for tuning in. Gogue, so then we go to the second category of physical endurance. Who has the better chin? Is it going to be Lopez or Lomachenko? Because to be honest with you, Gogue, I don't think we have a genuine clue how good Teofimo Lopez's chin really is. And, the great Don Chargan always used to tell us, Well, don't get too high on a fighter until you see how he takes a punch. So this is a mystery. So who would you give that category to? Who has the better chin, Lomachenko or Lopez?
Joe, Lopez is he's going to be the naturally bigger, stronger guy in the fight. Okay, he's just more of a natural lightweight than Lomachenko, who's coming up from junior lightweight. Okay, you know what I mean. Lomachenko's been dropped before too. Okay, but the bottom line, Joe, is when you get dropped, when you get put on your ass, what are you going to do after what are you going to do after you get put on your ass? How are you going to react when you come back? Well, Lomachenko showed me a lot. When he got put on his ass by Linares, he got back up. He didn't take an 8 count. He popped right back up, kept his poise and composure, weathered the storm, and you know what I mean? And the bell rang and came back the next round like nothing happened. So to me, knockdowns happen in boxing. It's part of the the intrigue of the sport. But to me, what I look at is how do the fighters nowadays, or how does the fighter come back from a knockdown? How does he behave? That tells me a lot about their character. How do they deal with adversity?
That's right.
Yep. How do they deal with adversity? That tells me a lot about their character. And Teofimo hasn't proved it, hasn't shown it yet because he's never been seriously hurt in a fight. Lomachenko has, okay? He's shown me that, he can, weather, he could weather the storms in a fight, with his high boxing IQ, his, great defensive skills, his footwork and all that, his composure and poise, his mental. It's mental, Joe. When you get knocked on your ass, you don't freak out and everything. You just get back, keep calm and cool. Because the other guy, after he knocks you out, where all of a sudden he gets all this adrenaline, he wants to go for the kill and end the fight. So, but you got to weather that storm when he comes at you and everything, okay? And I really believe Lomachenko has an edge over that. You know what I mean? He's experienced. He got hurt before. He got put on his ass, and the way he behaved, that told me everything about him. Like Aram said after the fight, we always knew he was a talent, but after the fight, now we know he's a fighter. Okay, Joe? You understand? That's what I mean. Yeah.
Absolutely. So advantage Lomachenko in terms of chin. Now we look at the emotional endurance, the experience and confidence level. Who is the stronger mental fighter in this matchup, Vasyl Lomachenko or Teofimo Lopez?
Teofimo has a lot of belief, has a high degree of confidence, him and his dad going into the fight, you know what I mean? But Lomachenko does too. But Lomachenko's quiet about it, and he's got the experience behind him. Okay, Joe? That championship level experience, not only on the amateur stage, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, world champion, world amateur champion, but, what is he, a 3-time world champion in the pros, been in a lot of, tough fights, been 12-round distance. Oh, Joe, like I said, the experience factor is huge between both fighters. One guy, is hyping himself up that I am the man, I could do it and all that. And the other one, he's proven that he could do it. So I got to go with Lomachenko.
Advantage Lomachenko. Well, so we move on to the next one. Overall ring IQ, Gogue.
Oh, both of them are intelligent. Both of them adapt good. Lomachenko, there goes again with the experience, Joe. 400 amateur fights, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 2-time amateur world champion. Been in more world title fights than Lopez. But the thing is, Joe, that's all good and dandy, but it's the variation to his game, Joe. He's a multi-dimensional fighter, offensively, defensively, and he changes it up all the time. You don't know what he's going to do offensively or defensively. Variation in his tact, high IQ on how to use his skills. All the weapons in his arsenal, Joe, and he's got a big weapon. He's got a lot of weapons in his arsenal, like a SWAT team, like a police SWAT team. Okay, he's got many weapons, and he knows how to use every single one of his weapons at any moment. He could change up and switch up and use this, use that, use this. You know what I mean? Just a multi-dimensional fighter. To me, he's a freakish fighter that, I never seen nobody like him before with, all those tools and the way he uses them and mixes it up. Boxing IQ. Oh, yeah, Joe, advantage, big-time advantage, Lomachenko.
Indeed. So we look at overall offense. Who has the better overall offense, Gogue?
Oh, Lomachenko, like I said, Joe, a multi-dimensional attack offensively. You don't know if he's going to press you. You don't know if he's going to box you. Moves in and out of range and moves at angles. Multiple variation of feints. He just doesn't feint just with a jab. He'll feint you with his head. He'll feint you with his left hand. He'll feint you with his lead foot. You know what I mean, Joe? Head and upper body movement fakes. Oh, he throws everything at you, Joe. Just confuse you. Makes you miss. He makes you miss a lot. That confuses you and frustrates you even more. Then hits you with sharp counters. He rips beautiful combinations to the head and body in variation. He don't throw the same shit all the time. He mixes his combinations up, Joe. And the way he attacks you, Joe, he'll attack you inside, rip body shots to the head, to the body. He'll pivot around you, to get that angle and throw more combinations at you. Then he'll confuse you. You think you're going to be on the outside. Then all of a sudden he'll pivot around you, circle around you. Then you think he's going to stay in front of you like a punching bag, but he steps in and out of range, to confuse you more. He blocks punches real good, with his gloves. Has real athletic, smooth head and upper body movement to make you miss. Like I said, Joe, he has multi-dimensions to his game defensively and multi-dimensions to his game offensively, and he mixes them up, Joe. He mixes them up beautifully to keep you off balance, to keep you confused, because, he has a high boxing IQ, Joe. He's up there with Crawford. He's up there with Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? Andre Ward. But this guy has more tools than them guys, okay? This guy has more dimensions to his game than them guys, okay? Like I said, man, this dude, a freakish fighter, man. I've never seen nobody like him. You talk to Aram would say the same thing.
Wow, well, that's saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah, according to Bob Aram, he thinks that Vasyl Lomachenko is the best fighter he's ever seen since Cassius Clay.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I don't know, Aram. He's a promoter. He's a he, you know what I mean. Ali's. It's the greatest. You know what I mean. I've been as long as I've been in the sport, Joe, a long time, since the '80s. I've never seen a guy like this before in my life with that many dimensions to his game, offensively or defensively, and the way he uses them, how he uses his tools, his skills, his weapons in his arsenal, and how he mixes them up. High boxing IQ. Oh, Joe, yeah, man. Like I said, a freakish, athletic, intelligent fighter, as you will see. He could fight in any era in boxing. The only thing is, Joe, like I said, can he do the same day weigh-ins, fight 8 hours later and go 15 rounds? That's a different ball game. But anyway, just his skill sets, yeah, very unique. Rare. Probably he's the only one in boxing that can do what he does.
Indeed. And that brings up a very good point. Going back to the question that one of our listeners actually posed to you about the weight cut, when you look at in his only loss to date, right, and once again, he was still learning how to fight in the professional level, right, against Orlando Salido. When you look at the weight, once again, Orlando Salido, he won the fight, but he wasn't eligible for the title. He came in and missed weight, and he had to give Vasyl Lomachenko some of his purse. And on the day of the fight, Gogue, he ballooned up to compete as a welterweight. On the day of the fight, he weighed in at 146. Do you see Teofimo? Now, of course, he wants to be eligible, and he doesn't want to lose his belt on the scale, but on the day of the fight, how heavy do you see Teofimo Lopez actually coming into the ring?
I don't know, Joe. I don't know how heavy he gets after he rehydrates. Young kid like that if you struggle to make weight, like if it's hard for him to make weight like that, shit, I could see him coming in at 150 pounds easily, 15 pounds, yeah. With that much time to rehydrate. But the thing is, I don't know if they're going to have, what do you call it, Joe, them rules where
it is the IBF. He is the IBF champion, so yeah, they have. Yeah. You can't.
They got to weigh in it. They got to weigh in again in the morning.
Fight, you cannot exceed the 10-pound limit.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's more than the fight. Point. Then after that, you can put on a few more pounds. So him coming in, anywhere from 12 to 15 pounds over the contracted weight. Yeah, that's a young kid like him. Oh yeah, that's very possible. Very good. So we'll move on to the next. How that helps you, Joe? When you come in heavy like that, you know why that helps you? It helps you absorb the punches better when you got that much more weight on you. It's like instead of hitting a 100-pound heavy bag, you're hitting a 150-pound heavy bag. So it's a big difference.
Indeed. We'll see if that we'll see if that intangible actually makes a difference in the fight. Gogue, now we look at the style matchup. Who has the advantage here? Because this looks like a classic effective aggressor versus a, counterpuncher by trade. Who has the advantage here?
Lomachenko. As long as he don't get caught. Lomachenko all the way, baby. As long as he don't get caught by by the explosive punching power of Teofimo. Lomachenko all the way, baby.
Wow. So what's funny is when you look at this, now most of the time.
I forgot to ask you, Joe. Who did Teddy pick to win the fight?
He hasn't made his prediction yet, brother.
I was going to go the opposite.
Well, I tell you what, he sure did jinx Sergey Derevyanchenko in his last fight. So yeah. So we'll see. We'll monitor that, and we'll come back to that, Gogue. He should be making his call either tomorrow or Tuesday. So we'll address this. We'll come back to it, brother. But I tell you what, let's take a look at, the height and the reach, because a lot of times, and this goes with style matchup, Gogue, because a lot of time, most of the time when you look at this, when you consider height and reach, most of the time, if you're the taller, rangier fighter, most of the time that would be an advantage. But in this style matchup, that may not be the case. Please explain why, sir.
It ain't gonna matter. Lomachenko knows how to close that distance intelligently. Footwork, head and upper body movement, feints. That a lot of touch jabs in his face and everything. Yeah, that ain't gonna matter at all, man. Nah, it's like I said, Joe. It's gonna be a chess match out there for Lomachenko, a high-level chess match, and for Teofimo. But like I said, Lomachenko just brings so many more weapons to the firefight than Teofimo. But then again, Teofimo got that big, that big nuclear bomb in his arsenal. Lomachenko ain't got.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that could be the ultimate neutralizer when we're talking about variables. Gogue, let's look at the corners. Both fighters are currently trained by their fathers, respectively.
Yeah.
Who has the advantage in corner, or will it even make a difference here?
Fuck. Joe, that's fucking overrated. Okay, I get sick of hearing that shit. Okay? Look, these guys are great fighters. Great fighters make great trainers, okay? The fight's won in the gym, okay? All right? And what they say in the corner, man, the fighter knows, he'll pick it up, but that ain't gonna matter. They know how to adapt. They know how to make those adjustments and everything, okay? But corners and all this other stuff, you know what I mean? No. What wins the Kentucky Derby or the Triple Crown? The jockey or the fucking horse? Okay? It's the horse. All right? So. Yeah,
it's just like the great Mr. Don Chargan used to tell us, a fighter is, or a trainer is only as good as the horses that he jockeys.
That's it.
Indeed.
That's
advantage push. So now we go back to what you stated, and when we talked about hand speed, you said, reflexes, that's a completely different intangible. So we're going to ask you, Gogue, who has the advantage in instincts and reflexes?
You can have reflexes, Joe, but what can you do with them? That damn Loma, what's his name, has good reflexes and instincts to counter quickly and explosively. Advantage, Teofimo Lopez. But what's his name's got also great instincts and reflexes to counter effectively too. But he has great instincts and reflexes to make you miss defensively with his superb upper body movement, with this beautiful footwork, moving in and out of range. You know what I mean? To react within a tenth of a second, cat quick, to move around you and everything. So it's it's what tools you have, Joe, when you have those God-given reflexes, instincts. What tools are in your arsenal? Well, Lomachenko got a lot more tools in his arsenal than Lopez.
Indeed. So advantage Lomachenko. Now, Gogue, there's not going to be a crowd for this fight. Do you think that's going to make a difference psychologically and emotionally for either fighter in this matchup?
Neutral. Yeah, nobody. There's no crowd. One crowd can't vote for one. I mean, the crowd can't vote for one or the other. Yeah, it ain't gonna be no. To me, it's just gonna be like it's gonna be a high level fight. And showing in there's only gonna be 250 people allowed in there. Very, very, very unique circumstances, Joe. A fight of this magnitude with only that many people in there. Yeah,
that's right. Only 250 people are going to be allowed to witness this fight at the bubble. So, advantage push. Well, then we go to the final variable, Gogue. Teofimo Lopez is coming into this fight at age 23. Vasyl Lomachenko's age 32. Now, I understand most people would like to favor Teofimo Lopez because of his youth, but what about experience? So who has the advantage in this crucial factor of age?
Lomachenko all the way. Like I talked to you about, Joe, look at his amateur background, all the, three-time division world, three-time, weight division champion, been 12 rounds a lot of times, fought a lot better opponents. Joe, Teofimo only had, one tough fight in his career against that Japanese guy. Everybody else, he blew him out quickly and everything. He doesn't have that, that resume of fights. He doesn't have those resume of tough fights to give him that seasoning yet that Lomachenko has. But he has that power. Oof. He could end it at any time, man. And he's not only when he hurts you, he's a great finisher. Okay? So.
Well, so in terms of age, that's advantage push. It could be an advantage to Teofimo Lopez because of power and age.
Doesn't matter. Lomachenko's still fresh. He's not beat up or punch drunk and going downhill. He's still in his prime. Okay. All right, and he's got all that experience behind him, Joe, that you can't buy.
Oh, I'm sorry, I read that incorrectly. So advantage Lomachenko, correct?
Yeah, experience, age, wisdom.
Very good.
Boxing IQ. Yeah, but like I said, it's like baseball. Mark McGwire. I remember I went to go when my buddies were playing for the Cardinals. I went to go. I remember one game when I was living in Houston. Mark McGwire was, he was 0 for 5. He came up to the plate the sixth time. He was, down on the count, and the guy threw him a bad pitch. Boom, knocked it out of the park. He's got that, home run. He's a home run hitter, that Lopez. And any mistake that Lomachenko makes, like the one he did in the Linares fight, it could be fatal. It could be fatal.
Indeed, and when you consider that Teofimo Lopez seems to be one of the best finishers in the sport, that very well could be the case. Well, Gogue, it looks like it's almost a clean sweep. And so the odds makers, when you look at the betting lines across the board on most race and sports books, they seem to be in agreement with you, Gogue. Most of them are showing, and the one we're looking at, once again, is the MGM book, right? The book at the MGM. They have right now Vasyl Lomachenko listed as a minus 400, Gogue. This is actually growing. This is actually growing from last week. Last week, Vasyl Lomachenko was only listed as a minus 300, and Teofimo Lopez was listed as a plus 225. That's increased now. It's widened the margin.
4-1.
It's
Holy
now
mackerel.
a minus 400, and Teofimo Lopez is listed as a very game but wide, plus 300. Gogue, so after analyzing this and the week of the fight, the handicappers are in agreement with you, Gogue. Do you think that's spot on, or do you think that may be a little wide?
3-1 is more realistic. But, Joe, when money starts going on one fighter, they increase the odds and everything just to cover their ass. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean,
the
Joe?
way the money is
landing,
it always.
Fighter, the odds start
right.
shifting. I mean, the odds start shifting to the fighter that the money's getting put on. Yeah, So, no, the guy has, like we talked about. Look at all the variables. Look at all the factors that Lomachenko. We do the checklist. Check Lomachenko. Check Lomachenko. Check Lomachenko. Check Lomachenko. Shit. I mean, yeah, Joe. But in the public's eye, because of his explosive knockouts, people think he's a live dog, and I think so too. Lopez. So.
Yeah, you cannot discount the ultimate neutralizer that he carries in both fists. That check left hook and that straight right hand behind, especially in support of, or supported with those cat-like reflexes he seems to have. I mean, this is a very special fighter, but most people seem to be in agreement that this is too much too soon for the promising young fighter. And when you look at his resume, Gogue, and once again, trust your eyes, guys, first and foremost, but when you look at the record, you look at all of the names that he's faced, and not just names, but the style matchups. Okay, now, once again, you stated that Teofimo Lopez is an instinctive counterpuncher with some of the best reflexes and speed in the division, but Lomachenko's already proven to be successful against fighters of that nature. Gary Russell, Guillermo Rigondeaux, and even an aggressive-minded counterpuncher and a hard puncher in Nicholas Walters.
Linares, too, a fast, sharp.
And Jorge Linares, that's right.
Yeah, a good offensive fighter like Linares, yeah.
So, there's very good reason. I'll tell you one thing interesting when you examine the odds here, Gogue. One variable or one category that I think is really interesting that's become really popular, and a lot of money has been going to, when you look at the under, Gogue, a lot of people have been picking, and a lot of money has been falling on late, of Vasyl Lomachenko's stoppage. From round 7 to 9, a lot of money's been placed on this, and a lot of money's been going on a Vasyl Lomachenko late round stoppage. Do you think it's going to be the point? Because I've heard a lot of, very intelligent boxing minds saying that this could eventually play out to resemble Joe Calzaghe versus Jeff Lacey. Is that a possibility in your mind?
I don't think so, Joe. This guy's an explosive puncher, and he's a strong kid. He'll be able to go through those rounds and everything. I don't think it's going to be like Nicholas Walter, or he made that bitch Nicholas Walter, or that bitch Rigondeaux quit like dogs. You know what I mean? No. I think Lopez got more pride in him to fight. Through the whole fight, not waving the towel and everything. But that's it. Like I said, everybody has their opinion on how this fight is going to play out. A lot of people. There's a lot of intrigue, Joe. That's what gets fans tuned in, is the high intrigue of this fight, okay? And when you got a fight of this magnitude, the best fight in the best, and there's a lot of high intrigue, Joe. A lot of people are going to tune in. Yeah, it's a big night for boxing. And on the undercard, they got a crossroads fight between two of top ranks, young 140-pounders, Alex Salcido and Arnold Barbosa. That's a
great fight, Gogue.
Great fight. Under the radar. Styles make fights. Okay, both physical, aggressive in nature. Oof. Yeah, Joe. That might be a better fight than the Lomachenko Lopez.
Well, in terms of Rock'em Sock'em Robots type action, boy, that's almost a guarantee. In terms of, elite level technical ability, not a chance.
Nah. But I'm talking about a fight, okay?
Oh,
okay,
absolutely.
Yeah.
In terms of entertainment value, yeah, absolutely, Gogue.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why, Arum was wise enough to put this on the card. In case this main event ends up being a chess match, a technical chess match, in terms of all-action war, yeah, you've got the co-main event to actually fall back on. So, yeah, the guys from Top Rank, they know what they're doing, brother. So before you make your final prediction, Gogue, and a lot of people seem to think, before we find out whether or not you think it's going to be closer to Calzaghe-Lacey or a changing of the guard in Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks, we'll see what you think after you give us your keys to victory for both fighters. Now, if you were the trainer for Teofimo Lopez, what would be your keys to victory in defeating the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, Vasyl Lomachenko?
Land that right hand or left hook. Take away the angles that Lomachenko throws at you. You know what I mean? When he pivots around you, you got to pivot with him, the opposite direction. Okay? Because once he gets that angles on you, forget about it. He gets in the rhythm, he gets in the groove, and once he gets some angles on you, boy, he really starts turning it on offensively. But to me, don't just be himself. Just like I said, land right hand or left hooks or the uppercuts, Joe. The right uppercuts, the sneaky left uppercuts. The left uppercuts on a southpaw, that's a punch they never see coming. You know what I mean? Especially off a straight right hand and come back with a left uppercut. It comes from an angle they don't see. But just basic stuff, Joe. That right hand, short right hand, and short left hook, counter with the short right hand, the short left hook. The left uppercut. Time them. That's going to be the key. Timing him to counter this guy and everything, okay? But the thing is, Joe, early on, you better get this guy early on them sharp counters, because as the fight goes on, Lomachenko's going to get onto your game. He's going to get onto, how you counter, what you counter with, and he's going to neutralize all that. He adjusts defensively, Joe. Like I said, he's got a arsenal of weapons defensively to make adjustments, to neutralize your best weapons, okay? But Lopez is an explosive puncher. Off counters, that would be his best way to win. And it's usually the straight right hand counters or the left hook right hand counters, right hand left hook counters. But you want to get more intriguing, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Sneak that left uppercut in there too, and that's, straight right hand to the body too, or the sweeping right hand to the body like Shane Mosley throws. You know what I mean? That double jab, straight sweeping right hook to the body. You know what I mean? Yeah, just variation of punches. You can't throw the same shit all the time on this guy. You got to mix it up. You better mix up your jab too, your lead jab, up and down. You better have a stiff jab too, Joe. To get this guy's attention. You can have touch jabs and all that, Joe, but that doesn't get your attention. But you start hitting him with some stiff jabs, okay. You know what I mean, Joe? It makes you think more. Like, okay, put some fear in you. Like I just can't walk in there. Now he's got that jab in my face, a nice hard stick jab in my face. But if you just touch him with the jab, what do you got to worry about? Just the right hand or the left foot. But if you got a stick jab, and a nice hard stick jab in Lomachenko's face, now he's got three things to worry about. That's what I'm trying to say, Joe. Bring as much to the table as you can to make this guy thinking, to keep this guy off balance, to keep the playing field even. Okay, that's what I would do, Joe. Straight right hands, the counter, straight right hands, left follow with the left hook right hand. Now these are the combinations that work on the southpaw when you get the right distance. The uppercuts, the left hooks, in a medium close range, uppercut hook right hand, You know what I mean? The uppercuts, what do you call it? It's hard to hit a southpaw with the left hook to the body because of the angle. Some guys can do it, some guys can't. It's just hard, especially Lomachenko. Lomachenko, here's what he keeps his lead leg outside of your lead leg where he doesn't give you that. He takes away that punch, and he takes away your straight right hand because he's not in the direct line of fire. He's at that angle, you know what I mean? Like, that's what happens when you keep your lead leg outside of your opponent's lead leg when you're southpaw. Your head is not in the direct line of fire there, you know, to get hit by that right hand. Or the body shots, okay? So the only punches, you know, when he's got, it's pretty much that jab has got to be sharp, and the left hook, you know, it's got to be on. Yeah. And don't let Lomachenko control the lead foot, meaning don't let him be predominant. Don't let his lead leg be predominantly on the outside of your lead leg, you know, a majority of the time. You know what I mean? Well, you know, it depends on the fighter. You know, sometimes some fighters don't give a shit about that because, you know, they know how to counter, they know how to counter southpaws with quick, short, explosive right hands or hooks back and everything. Okay, they know how to, So that's, to me, number one rule when you fight a southpaw: make sure your lead leg's outside your opponent's lead leg, and vice versa. But sometimes, it doesn't really matter, man, to a guy like Lopez. You know what I mean? He could fight with his lead leg inside or outside, but it's good to fight on the outside to take away those angles. Because once Lopez gets his lead leg, once Lomachenko gets his lead leg outside of your lead leg, the angles are there. The opportunities for him to attack your angles are there. But if you take away those angles by, keeping your lead leg outside of his lead leg, then them angles, he can't attack you at those angles proficiently. You understand, Joe? But it's just,
Indeed.
Just be himself. Just be himself and, execute the basic punches. What's there? If the right hand's there, boom. If the uppercut's there, follow with the left hook, boom. If that left uppercut's there, Joe, that's a good weapon to throw, that left uppercut against the southpaw, because it's coming from the angle they don't see. Yeah, that's one thing I would add. And that straight right hand to the body and the sweeping right hook to the body, just to give Lomachenko, something to think about and everything. Okay?
Indeed. Now, you stated something very, very interesting. Teofimo Lopez has to be Teofimo Lopez. That contradicts something that they actually stated last week during the press conference. Now, we sat in at the virtual press conference last week, and he stated, well, upon looking at his only loss, being the bigger, stronger, younger, fresher fighter, we plan to bully Vasyl Lomachenko in the ring. We plan to apply intelligent pressure from start to finish. But being a counterpuncher by trade, when has he ever exuded the ability, when has he ever displayed that kind of ability to be the effective aggressor? And, I've never seen it, Gogue. Have you?
No, Joe, you just stick to what you do best, okay? You don't change who you are, all right? It's like football. If you're a great running football team, you run that damn football, pass a little, just to keep them off balance. If you can't run, you throw the ball, okay? Just do what you do best. Don't change what, just add a few dimensions to your attack, like maybe a left uppercut, sweeping right hook to the body, right uppercut to the body, and maybe, different variations of combinations, but just don't try to be something you're not, man, because when you do that, it usually doesn't work out.
Indeed. So now we're going to look at the keys to victory for Vasyl Lomachenko. Gogue, what does Lomachenko have to do to become the undisputed lightweight champion?
Just be himself. Use all his weapons in his arsenal. His variation in his offensive attack and his defensive capabilities. Using all his defensive capabilities in his arsenal. His in and out movement, okay, Joe. Okay, using his forward, moving in and out of range, okay, to confuse you. Head and upper body movement, throwing a lot of feints at you. Feinting with the jab, feinting with his head, feinting with the left hand, feinting with his lead foot. You know what I mean? Upper body, head and upper body movement, with his, using his head and upper body movement, getting in range, making you miss, countering to the body, coming back to the head, throwing combinations of head, going back to the body, pivoting around. Just be himself. That's all, Joe. just like he did in the other fights, man. Well, what the hell, why do you want to change? You do what got you here is what got you here, okay? You don't change. Only I would, like I said, Joe, main thing, keep Lomachenko's most effective when he got his lead leg outside of your lead leg, okay? That's when he's at his best. Why? Because you could get those angles on you, pivot around you, okay? And that's when he really starts getting in rhythm, okay? Yeah, that's, to me, you keep his lead leg outside of Lopez's lead leg 80-90% of the time. Yeah, that's going to dictate everything, offensively and defensively, okay, on what he does. That's Joe right there. If you watch all his fights, he like Usyk, too. What's that guy's name? Usyk, first name? I forgot.
Alexander Usyk.
Yeah. First thing you know, when he's out there fighting, he always tries to establish his lead leg positioning. Or he wants it outside of his opponent's lead leg so he can pivot around you. Okay? Because once they take your ability to pivot around, once your opponent takes your ability to pivot around you, shit, you can't move. You can't move around the guy. You got to. You're only stuck one way to move, which is your left. You know what I mean? But you got to. Yeah, that to me, his ability just to be himself, using all his weapons in his arsenal. Variation, changing up his attack, pressing, not pressing, circling, using angles, just everything, feints and everything, frustrating him. That's the key, frustrating this guy as the rounds go on. And, Lopez can't get in the rhythm because he's having a hard time, hitting him, or he has a hard time figuring out his tag, what he's doing, because Lomachenko's throwing, everything at him that he's never seen before, and he can't figure him out, and he starts getting frustrated. Okay, that's when Lomachenko turns it up. That's when he turns the heat up in the room. It gets hotter in there, and he starts applying more pressure because he knows that you're not going to throw. He knows that you're frustrated. He knows that you're hesitant because everything he did, all the work he put in the early rounds, the groundwork he put in the earlier rounds. Now he start executing his game plan, phase 2 of his game plan, phase 3 of his game plan, which is the pressure attack, like he did in the Gary Russell fight and everything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But whatever it takes, Lomachenko could do. He might not be able to press. What's his name? The whole fight. He may be, hey man, it's better to be safe and just box and circle him all night, and only press him a little. Stay out of range, not be. What do you call it, Joe? You want to be there, sitting there the whole time, man, not in front of a puncher like this. Even when you got great head and upper body movement. Even to me, his footwork should be his first line of defense with his, with a lot of feints and a lot of touch jabs. His second, his third line of defense should be his footwork, moving in and out of range. You know what I mean? Moving in circles. That should be his first line of defense, footwork. And you don't want to, like I said, you don't want to play the odds. The odds are if you stay in front of this guy like Jaime Mengui, you're going to get knocked out. But if you use intelligent footwork, moving in and out of range, moving in circles at angles, probabilities are you're going to get hit less. But the thing is, Joe, like I said, his ability to move in and out of range, man, to confuse you. You know what I mean? That's confusing, Joe, when you got a guy, you think he's here, then he's out of range. And you do that a few times, man, it makes you hesitant. Then when the other guy starts throwing all kinds of feints at you, he starts pivoting around you, then he starts hitting you with different combinations to the head and body and head, stuff you never seen before. Like, oh, geez. That's why he made Nicholas Walters quit. That's why he made that bitch Rigondeaux quit, okay? They were like, geez. You know what I mean? They couldn't cope with all that shit Lomachenko was throwing at him. But just be himself, man. And only way he's going to lose this fight, Joe, is get knocked out. That's the only way I see. But the probabilities increase if you stand there like a punching bag, okay? Footwork is going to be the most important factor, I think, in this fight, okay? Not being a punching bag, not being a stationary object.
Indeed, and there it is, guys. Those are your keys to victory for both fighters. Now, Gogue, with 5 minutes remaining in the show, who wins this fight, and how do you see it playing out?
Who wins this fight? Oh, it's got to be Lomachenko. Yeah. How does it play out? How does it play out, Joe? Golly. What does Teddy think?
Well, see, that's my point. Because this is such a compelling matchup, and because of all the variables that we discussed,
Honestly,
it's
Joe,
all over the board. It's all over the board. Some seem to think who are favoring the younger fighter, more powerful fighter, they think it could be an early stoppage victory, a lot more like Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks, where you have the younger, stronger fighter just bomb out, and he comes out and bombs out the veteran, more technically proficient fighter. But there are a lot of people on the other end of the spectrum that thinks it could be a one-sided mismatch like Joe Calzaghe versus Jeff Lacey. So,
Joe,
in your mind, what do you think it's going to be?
Realistically, Joe, guys that usually talk a lot and talk a lot of shit and everything, what they're going to do and what they're going to do, 80-90% of them times they fail. They fail. Only one guy, or a few guys I've seen in this business can talk the talk and walk the walk. Ali, Hector Camacho, you know what I mean? But most of that talk the talk. Floyd Mayweather, he could walk the walk and talk the talk and walk the walk. Most guys that haven't proven themselves, that talk, they usually, it usually goes back to bite them in the ass 80 to 90% of the time. But there's always that one time out of 10 they're successful and everything. But me, how's it going to play out? Once Lomachenko gets in the rhythm, makes those adjustments, as long as you don't get caught by this guy, as the fight goes on, you're going to see the difference in levels, difference in class. And that's what usually happens in a fight of this magnitude. The better fighter, the one with higher, number one, the one with a lot of weapons, with a higher boxing IQ, you'll see the separation level as the rounds go on.
Wow, and there you have it, guys.
Baby.
And there you have it, guys. Vasyl Lomachenko. Gogue thinks Vasyl Lomachenko is going to be the big winner this Saturday night. We'll see, though, whether or not Teofimo Lopez is closer to Fernando Vargas or Floyd Mayweather in terms of, regretting all of the trash talk and all of the bold predictions he's made going into this fight. We'll see. But according to Coach Gogue, guys, in this comprehensive and complete in-depth analysis, Coach Gogue likes Vasyl Lomachenko. And, guys, I'll make my official prediction on the final show this week with Fight Saga editor Lee Cleveland. But as of right now, it's hard to disagree with you, Coach. You make a very compelling argument. So that's about it, guys.
The odds makers agree with me, too, Joe. The odds makers don't want to lose money, so they agree with me, too.
The handicappers agree overwhelmingly with Coach Gogue as well. So, guys, that's going to just about do it. We want to thank you all for tuning in to our Coach Gogue's final analysis and prediction for Vasyl Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. Coach, do you have any parting shots for our listening audience?
No, thank all the fans worldwide for tuning in. It's going to be a great fight next week, and you ain't got to pay for it, okay? It's going to be on, of course, in the USA, it's going to be on ESPN. Over here in Mexico, I think they're going to show it on ESPN Knockouts. And all over Latin America, going to be on ESPN Knockouts. And, of course, England, they're pay-per-view. I don't know why. But, it's, like I said, it's going to be a fight that's going to be shown worldwide. And a highly anticipated matchup that's been in the, in the oven for a while. Now, next week, only thing I worry about, Joe, hopefully both guys pass their COVID test and their coaches and trainers pass their COVID test. I hate to see something bad happening. Boxing this year, oh, my God. Surprise! Yeah.
Well, perish the thought, Gogue. I tell you what.
Yeah.
Hey, fun fact, Gogue, before we let you go, brother. Did you know that 35% of our listening audience now is coming out of the UK?
No kidding. Well, all the great fans in UK, I always say that, since we started the show way back in 2011, I always said that you guys are pound for pound the greatest fans in boxing. Your enthusiasm, your knowledge of the game, your support. You guys go out there and pay, use your hard-earned money and buy tickets to the fights and everything to support your fighters. I love you guys, and I got an experience to see that when Floyd Mayweather fought Ricky Hatton. You guys brought 25,000 live, energetic British fans over there to support your guy, the Hitman, and right then and there, man, I'm like, man, these are real boxing fans, okay. Yeah, they're very knowledgeable too. Boxing fans. They ain't like a lot of fans you meet everywhere. These guys, when you talk boxing to these guys from the UK, you better know your stuff because they do their research, they do their homework, and they're avid fight fans, Joe. Okay, they're not casual fight fans; they're avid, meaning they're hardcore. And for them to pay for this fight, like Aaron said, it should be a crime against Sky Box Office and Eddie Hearns. Nah, man, they shouldn't have to pay for this shit. I mean, they shouldn't have to pay for this fight. It should be free as a gift, to from boxing for them being loyal fans.
Guys, he's James Gogue, 3-decade fight trainer. Thank you so much for just giving us this expert analysis, Gogue. Guys, in case you missed any part of it, it's going to be on our YouTube, Warweek Network, Warweek Radio Network on YouTube in just about an hour, guys. So go visit it, subscribe, and like. And if you have any questions for James Gogue, he'll answer them every single Sunday night. Gogue, thank you so much once again for being on the show, and thank you for your expert eye. We really appreciate it. That's going to just about do it, guys. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, be here for Tuesday night when we speak to fight scribe Rodney Green. But on behalf of James Gogue, I'm Joseph Herron. That you've been listening to Warweek Radio Network. Have a great Sunday evening, everybody.